With the drums down, we can now move on and basically start to add a deeper, more dance-orientated bass to this mix. Because if we listen back to this now, it's kind of missing a bass in there. So what we're going to do for this session is basically we're going to try and add a bass to this. Now, when you're working on building a bass for French house, you'll find that you'll always achieve the best results if you use a real bass, or at least samples of a real bass. The whole point of French house is to maintain a level of, I suppose, disco, maintain that disco feeling, or that funk, that funkiness, if that's even a word. And the best way, anyway, to approach something like that is to use samples of a real bass. Now, there's countless sample CDs dedicated to real bass, but my personal favourite is actually Spectrasonic's Trillion. Some of you may have heard of that. It's basically the follow-up to their earlier trilogy release. I just prefer Trillion because I don't have to import loads of samples into a sampler and arrange them. It's all done for me. Now, what we'll do is just create a track here, and we'll call Trillion up. Let's just get Trillion. Up here now. Oh, there we go. Now, this isn't cheap, I'll admit it, but if you're planning on writing most genres of dance music, really, it's an absolute must-own. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that bass is a key element in dance music, so it's pretty important that you have access to plenty of bass instruments, and Trillion, it really does stock the best of the best. Basically, alongside a load of electric and synth basses and mono basses, it offers a number of real basses that we can choose from. But when we're choosing a bass for this type of track, it is important that we choose the right type of bass timbre. For example, let's choose an electric bass. Now, we wouldn't want something like a picked bass in this because it wouldn't really work that well, because the pluck in this will probably have a lot of high frequency content every time it plucks, and that would mask over our funky guitar. So for a tune like this, I think we're looking at something like a muted. We'll go for a full range combo so we get everything, and I think we'll go for that one, the clean Fender mute. We'll try that one. Just solo that. Let's get it where it should be. That's just lovely. That is a bass. So what we'll do anyway, we'll get back on track here, and we'll use this muted bass, and we'll see how it pans out. I mean, I might be wrong here. If I am, we can change it to a different bass if we really need to. But I think that's gonna cut it. Well, we need a fairly funky bass here. Now, funky bass lines, they're quite easy. I know they may not sound easy when you listen to them, but when it comes to programming them in MIDI, provided you have a good set of samples like we have here, they really are easy to fill because they all follow a few fundamental rules. Now, if we're writing any other kind of track apart from the French house that we're writing here, we'd probably have a chord progression down, and all we'd have to do is extract our bass from our chord progression. So I think what I'll do first, I'll show you how to write a funky bass first. We'll ignore the rest of this record. I'll show you how to write a funky bass, and then we'll come back to this and we'll write one around that. So let's pretend we've got a chord structure down, we'll say, and we've just taken the bottom notes from it. So we'll say, I'll just have to stretch that over 2 bars. I'll turn that to there, and I'll just drag that over there. And what we'll do basically is we'll say that we've extracted our chord progression from here. I'll just do a quick kind of bottom line of a chord progression. We'll go C, F, G. I know. For those who know chords and progressions, that is possibly the cheesiest and simplest chord progression in the world. Actually, if you don't understand how to construct chords, progressions, and sounds to suit them and all that, keep your eye out for Fundamental 3, which is dedicated to just that subject. Anyway, what we'll do is basically, we'll say there are bottom notes of our chord, and we've extracted that. So we want to write a funky bass. And what we can do is we can basically say, well, we'll take that there. We'll just split this up into 3 notes like that, and take that down. We'll split this up into 3 notes like that, and we'll do the same with this one. And finally, we'll copy that one. We'll do the same here. And there we go. So we should have sounds like Grease part of that. Right. Now what we've got to do is we can say, well, basically what we'll do is we'll take our second note, and what they do is funky basses use something called octave shifting. So what we'll do is we'll take our funky bass, our bass here, and we'll take this middle line, and we'll move that up all the way up there. And we'll do the same with all of them. We'll move this up to the F, an octave above. Running out of mouse mat space there. And we'll take that up to, come back down, behave yourself. We'll take that up to G, and then again, what we'll do is we'll take that one up to C there. And I'll just listen back to that. You know, that's got quite a funky step to it there. All we've got to do now is just basically, we'll just play around with a few of these note lengths. For example, shrink that note down there. We'll leave that long. We'll set that one down. We'll shrink that one down. We'll leave that one long again. Shrink that one down. That one, shrink that one down. I think we'll shrink that one down as well, just to be different. And that one, and this one here, we'll set this one down. Let's just add a bit more drive to the rhythm. We won't leave them full length, we'll just take them down a little bit, just add that bit of, perhaps just make that one a little bit longer. So listen to that. I'll just repeat these across to connect with the drums. That's quite funky, but we can get even more funky with this now by basically what we can do is we can introduce some accidental notes. And we can do that basically by just, we'll use that note. We'll just copy that and just throw it there. Oh, I don't know, we'll set that one and copy it to there. Let's have a listen to that. That sounded a bit robotic there, so I'll probably move that there so it sounds a bit more free as they play it. And there you go. I mean, it's a funky bass. That is quite. I mean, if we turn all the solos off, we'll solo it all. Try that again. Now, I mean, playing that back with the rest of our mix, obviously, I've not worked in the original key of our track there. So, you know, I'm not even listening to the original track when I've been writing that, so it's probably going to be out of line, out of pitch and out of time and everything, but it's a funky bass, and you might give you an idea of how easy it is. You know, that actually kind of works, actually. If we move a few notes around, I think we've got a few bum notes in there, but if we moved a few around, I think... I think, actually, if we cut that there and repeated it, and we just changed a few of these back notes around... No, we're not going to use that. It might just be a little too funky for this track. I really like that. What we will do, we'll copy this down first. We'll think about that. We'll think about it. We'll ponder that. I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll think about it. What we'll do, I'll create another track down here. And basically what we need to do is mute that off. Well, it's done now, and we'll listen back to it, and we'll see if we can come up with our own rhythm for this, rather than just rely on something that I've just come out with the blue with there. So let's have a listen. Right, I can hear a rhythm in there, actually. I'll do is I'll start it down at C1 just so we can get the general rhythm in that I've got in mind. Just bear with me while I get this in. A bit short one in there, not really short. And then I reckon, nice. Long ones are there. That's sounding alright. Let's bring this out to there. Perhaps that's a bit long. I think what we'll do is put 3 notes at the end there. Oops. So one there, a little bit longer, and perhaps one right at the end. So let's try that. Right, now what we've got to do basically now is we've got to find the key of this. We've got to find the key of our original track and try and get this in time with our original track. So we've just got to listen back to it and then move these around until we kind of find the key that it should all be in. So let's play it. That's actually sounding better there, like that. I mean, as you saw there, it's just a case of listening to it and moving these notes around until you get something that sounds in tune with the original. I'm afraid there's no other way really that you can do something like that. It is actually quite difficult. You just got to... I'm not sure about this one. But we'll leave it there for now. I mean, we're on A there, so the build-up is sounding... It's sounding all right. I think what we'll do is we'll leave it like that, and we'll apply some effects to this now. The first effect I want to apply to this, if you've seen the fundamental on bass, is you're going to know that I'm going to want to apply Echo Boy to it. Basically, this will just to add this little bit more rhythm to it. Basically, we'll sync that to tempo. We'll leave it on 8s, I think. You can hear what an absolute massive difference that makes to bass lines. I mean, if we take that away. I think if we had just a little bit of distortion to that, a little bit of analogy type distortion, we can go for the soft, the Decapitator. Put a little bit of Decapitator on that. On E. I like the sound of E. We don't put too much on. So probably around 3 or 4. A bit much. Back off. That's sounding okay there. I think what we need to do is we need to add some push to this rhythm, add a bit of groove to this rhythm. So we'll use the TubeTech CL1B for that, which basically a compressor, fantastic compressor. This for adding just a bit of push to the rhythm. Now, the thing when we use this, how we use it is going to give us our overall result. Because the way we set it up, we can choose to pronounce the latter half of the notes or the front end of the notes by setting this attack here either faster or longer and setting the release. Basically, we can say by setting this attack longer, the bass is going to sweep in with the lower frequencies more prominent. Or if we set this with a faster attack, we're going to make the attack stage of the bass more prominent. And obviously, that's going to heavily affect the state of the groove. So what we'll do is we'll get this going and we'll just play around with it, and we'll try and get a groove going, a good feel. When you hear it, that changes the groove. Take that out, listen to the mix, and then bring it back in and see if we're happy with the sound of it. Let's try that one again. Oh, I really don't know there. I do like that one. I do actually like that. I think if we change the back end of that, we can really... we'll put a bit of Echo Boy on this. You'll have to bear with me here. I've got to try this. We'll try a bit of Echo Boy on that. Well, that's the decision we're left with there. I really don't know with that one. I really don't know there. I really don't know. I think what we'll do is we'll move on to the arrangement, and basically we'll start arranging this. We'll keep both them bases in for now, and what we'll do is we'll come to arranging it, and as the arrangement grows, we'll compare each bass and see which we really like the sound of. But actually, I really like the sound of both of them. I think this one makes the record sound a bit more funkier. And that one's a bit more serious. I really don't know that. What we'll do, we'll move on to the arrangement. We'll start arranging. We'll keep both them basses in, and we'll make a decision as the arrangement moves along there, which we really think captures that bass sound. So, basically, what have we got so far? We've got the main sample, we've got the drums, we've got the bass. We've got the vocals. Yeah, we've got the vocals already. So basically, I think that's pretty much it. It might sound like only a small amount, but I think we've got enough there to start actually working on our arrangement. So next session, let's jump on the arrangement and see what we can really do with this.